Hello, everyone. My name is Maya McQueen. I serve as the Vice President of Enrollment and Institutional Partnerships here at Lionheart Coaching Academy. Within this organization, we have our program, which is called Merry Money Method. And the goal of this program is to support high achieving students of color with the journey of college admissions to be competitive. We start with our students in ninth grade, follow them all the way up into their seniors in high school with the goal at hand that they're able to be competitive for colleges and also receive merit aid, which is also, in other words, full scholarships, that they can thrive and become the leaders that they are called to be. Today, we have Christian Davis, who is a freshman at Texas Southern University. He is going to share a little bit about his story, for he has received a full ride to Texas Southern University. And even beyond just the full ride, he was the class president of his high school all 4 years. He has also been the director of finance for the African American Club in his high school, has also took college credits as well, has just been able to be a leader in his community beyond just the test scores and his grades, but really making an impact. And he's also studying political science with a focus pre-law as well. Hi, Christian. How are you? We're so happy to have you here with us.
I'm so honored to be here tonight. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm definitely looking forward to this interview, and more so, I'm grateful to be on a platform that's able at such an early grade, and any opportunity I can to help someone else, I'm most willing able to participate in it to ensure that the same success, that the same opportunities I was afforded, that other students might be able to see that as well. So thank you so much for having me tonight, Maya.
Of course. So before we dive into just the questions of your high school journey that got you to TSU, you're currently a freshman at TSU. You're about 3 weeks in. So just share with us a bit about how has the journey of just transitioning into college has been for you thus far.
As you stated, I'm currently at Texas Southern University right now. I chose Texas Southern University because there were other colleges, there were other options, but I really wanted that HBCU experience, and nothing said home like the Texas Southern University. And I can tell you right now, I love it. I've been able to be involved, get involved in a bunch of clubs and organizations, not only clubs and organizations, the main organization, the SGA. I've already joined the committee. I'm currently campaigning to be the freshman senator there at Texas Southern University. And not only that, but just making sure that I'm getting involved. That's the main key, because our HBCU has so much to offer with over 100 clubs and organizations, and so much opportunities to network and to get involved. And not only that, just to set myself up to achieve excellence even there and beyond the university. But I've been getting a chance to know the university, even in academics, getting a chance to know my professors, getting a chance to know the classes, getting acquainted with the workload, and just understanding how to establish a flow. I think that's what the first 2 to 3 weeks has been for me, just establishing a flow, establishing a schedule. I think I'm getting there. And I'll just say it's been an absolute joy the first 2 to 3 weeks. I'll tell anyone, make sure that you get a college experience, because it's definitely been an experience these past 2 weeks.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. I can only imagine, especially being able to figure out what's your flow and what works. And normally it does take some time, especially because you're getting on a campus for the first time, which is different from high school, but then also figuring out your classes, where your classes are, the traveling, and how far things are, and then really seeing what it looks like for your schedule. There's a lot of joy already starting to start strong in leadership, being a part of SGA, which is Student Government Association across most campuses. Can you share with me, for you in particular, when did you first thinking about the college admissions process? Because you did take some college credits and college courses. So when did you start thinking about the college admissions process?
Okay, Maya, I'll tell you this. I started thinking about the college admissions process. I'm going to be honest. It was my sophomore year of high school. Because we had, I'm sure you're familiar with the national exam, all of those exams coming around. And I didn't fully understand. I knew it was important to do well on those exams, which it is. I'm sure we're going to get. It was important to do well on those exams, but I just knew that that's the only thing I knew that was important to do well. But I didn't know that it was the basis of getting into a good college, landing those scholarships, and every other opportunity in that vicinity. But more so, I started to get serious about college because it was spoken to me, and I was encouraged to do well because they said that college admissions is something that you want to start thinking about right now. And it was twice, and going into our junior year, I took this SAT prep class, and most specifically, we had tasks where we had to find a college of our choosing, and not only that, but to make sure we understood what those requirements were to get into that college. And I particularly had 5 colleges that I wanted to attend. Those top 5 were none other than Howard University, my university, Texas Southern University, LSU, Morehouse, and University of Houston. I began to see and I began to get deeper, acquire more information about what it takes to get admitted into these universities. So I think curiosity sparked around my sophomore year. And most definitely, a lot of students really go to college with the intention of knowing where they want to attend once high school is over. Me, that was a different story for me. I had an idea that I wanted to attend Texas Southern University, but I wasn't fully aware of where I wanted to attend. So I'll just say again that you can start thinking about it even in your freshman year, just to get an idea of what goals you need to be setting to get there. Most definitely.
To dive deep on that, I know you're currently studying political science and law. So did you know around your sophomore year that that's something that you wanted to study, or was that also something that you started to develop over time? Did you choose your 5 schools based off what you wanted to study, or was it more so these are just the 5, top schools of your choosing?
Okay, so I'll start with your first question. And thank you so much for these insightful questions. These are amazing. I really know that there's going to be a lot of students who's going to gain value from these questions. Thank you. So first, I really questioned my career. I'm going to be honest. I questioned my career. And that curiosity to know what I really wanted to do didn't come until senior year. I'm gonna be honest, because our high school, we have a plethora of different programs. There was, if you wanted to go into the medical field, you were supported. If you wanted to go into the legal field, you were supported. If you wanted to go into the oil industry, you were supported. So it's just a lot of room to explore and see what you wanted to do. And my graduation plan, it was more so a multidisciplinary study program. So which means as long as I took AP classes, I fulfilled the graduation requirement. So actually, I took a plethora of STEM courses. So you would think that I would be a STEM major, but actually, what got my love for political science and government wasn't until my senior year. I said, wow, I really have a passion for being a voice for minority and underserved communities, ensuring that they get the rights that they get the totality of their unalienable rights, which are granted to them by our Constitution. So I became to get passionate around that time. And then over time, I think I'm going to pursue a career in law. And then I begin to talk to other people. Connections are important. And they begin to recommend, okay, for law, I'm going to tell you inevitably. They said, what experience are you looking for? I said, I'm looking for to go to HBCU. They said, okay. They said, since you want to go to an HBCU, they said, for law, we just want to tell you the Mecca is where it's at. Yeah, Howard University. I was like, okay, Howard University. And I had talked to Howard University, and I was like, that's where I was leaning towards. And then Texas Southern University, where I am, also has an amazing public affairs school and an even more amazing political science program. So just when I understood, to answer your question, when I fully became aware of what I wanted to do through deep inquiry and exploration, was when I fully understood which school I wanted to go to as well. So I started finding what schools would match my major the best and would support me the best. And so that's literally what happened. It was towards my senior year when I started to narrow that out.
What I want to point out about what you said, it's really key, and it would be great for parents, families, and students to take out of your story is that even though it was senior year of high school that you started to get more an understanding of what career path you wanted to take, what also helped you in terms of what schools you should consider was having conversations with people and getting their insights of, okay, if I want to study law and I want to study political science, what are the best schools that have these programs? Is really being able to have those conversations, which is why having a college list is important. Understanding your career and what you want to study is important. What I heard you speak on is that what you started to realize is that a part of your personality, a part of who you are, is you love to advocate. So from this place, it's finding careers that match what you enjoy, which is advocacy. And political science is a plethora of careers that you can go into that involves advocacy, but then also law. The main position of a lawyer is to advocate for whoever their client is. And hearing your story and even just your experiences, right? You were the class president. So being a class president, one of the main roles is to advocate for the student body. So even your experiences has helped you to, on a grander scale of what even helped you of what colleges should I go to, or what colleges would best fit what I want to do, having conversations with outside people who can help you to be able to say like this school, that school. Now you have niched down your list, because sometimes you can have 20 schools, 30 schools, and these can be great schools, but does it fit the career path that you want to take? And is it going to help you lead that journey? So even as I was hearing you speak and just share about it, it was as if, because you started to understand who you were and what you feel like it is that you wanted to do, you was able to then, okay, how can I have these conversations to know what schools would be the best fit for me, because this is what I want to do long term for my career.
Right. And that's perfect. Everything you said in a nutshell, like you said, I what I took from what you said is college list. It's a part of intentionality. And like you said, you got to narrow those things down. You got to know which school best, what programs best fit your needs, your major needs. But most importantly, I'll say it was a lot of factors that I consider with college. Because here's the thing, Howard University, I really wanted to attend Howard. But at the same time, like I said earlier, nothing said home like Texas Southern University. Like it's such a rich community with so much talent, so much gift, so much potential, so much excellence, and all of that is a space in which I could thrive in. And even while you're on those college lists, with your college lists, making those tours, you're gonna know. If I could tell anyone that, you're never gonna be like, oh, I'm so confused, or what. You're gonna know. You're gonna have an assurance. Okay, this is where I want to be. So most definitely, even if you face your difficulty, then you go back. Even if you get into a place where you don't even know, where I'm not sure where I want to attend, you go back and like put on that list and say, well, they supported my program. I love the community here. I love what they have to offer. I'm going to be supported throughout these 4 years. All these things you consider as a part of that list. So I think from the both of us, what we get is that it's mainly about intentionality.
Were you intentional in your process of earning a merit scholarship? Like, were you aware, like in your time of applying to schools, that schools give merit scholarships, or was it when you opened up your acceptance list, it was, I got a full ride? Explain to me, what was your journey and what strategies did you use in your college process to pursue merit aid, if that was your goal?
I got you. Okay, so like you said, it was more of it kind of, okay, I'm gonna tell you this. It kind of caught me by surprise. I'm not gonna lie. Because what happened is when I joined TSU, I heard people were saying, my fellow classmates and peers, they were mainly saying that you can get this amount of aid or assistance because of this program at my school. And I'm like, I wanted to have inquiry. I wanted to go deeper to inquire more information about, well, y'all talking about programs. So one of those programs actually that I'm referring to are like honors programs, like band programs that were offering them full ride scholarships in efforts to, to get them a spot within that different program, whatever it may be. And so whatever they were pursuing at the time, because I do have a lot of friends actually who went to school on full ride band scholarships. When I discovered I wanted to go to Texas Southern University, my mom said, I think, and that's another person that played a key role in my admissions process, but also in my scholarship process, because my mom was the one who initiated and said, Christian, you need to see what scholarships this Texas Southern University offered. And I started to look deeper. And then I came up on the ultimate scholarship, which was the honor scholarship. The honor scholarship would cover basically most of my tuition and books, so a full ride scholarship. So I was like, well, what do I need to do to secure this scholarship? And because I already qualified, because basically at Texas Southern University, you automatically qualify for university scholarships based off of the GPA that you come in with, SAT or ACT score. So to be intentional, and for the sake of this question, I looked more into the honors program to see what the requirements were to get a merit scholarship. And I found out that I met those requirements, the SAT score, I met the GPA. And not only that, they didn't want just your SAT, your GPA. They wanted your involvement. They wanted to see what you're doing to the community. Because here's the thing, oftentimes what we fail to realize is that they want to see, colleges or programs want to see that if I offer you this financial aid, what can you do for us in return to show that you're utilizing what we are giving you to your fullest potential, and at the same time represent us through everything that you do. And so if I came in with this potential, showing that I'm the class president, showing all of my accolades and showing everything, not just that, but my education, and showing how I was persistent with my GPA and my SAT score, then I know for sure that I was going to land that honors scholarship. And so to answer your question, I really didn't know until I heard from my friends that there were different programs and different opportunities. And that's when I began to explore that honors opportunity.
And can you dive deep into the honors part for me a little bit, just for students and parents to have a better understanding? Because based off what I'm hearing you saying is based off the GPA that you had, which had to be pretty high, and your SAT scores and even your leadership, you already had qualified for the university scholarship just based off just where you were there. But you did a little deeper dive into other opportunities what TSU offered. You came across the honors, and knowing on many college campuses, there is a difference between if you're an honors student in the honors program, there's like different qualifications that you follow as a student versus you just were a university student that came onto campus. So if you can just share, what does it mean for you to be an honors scholar student at TSU? And then if you've been able to learn from them yet about what are some different expectations or things they have for those that are in the honors program on an honors scholarship.
Okay, most definitely. I'll be more than excited, more than honored to explain to the parents and everyone that means, most definitely. So first, the honors college is different. It ranges from schools because I know some schools have an honors program and some schools have an honors college. And well, you see at TSU, we have an honors college. It's called Thomas F. Freeman Honors College. And there are specific standards and specific requirements of what it takes to get into the honors college. Now, what you want to do is throughout your high school career, you want to maintain, I'm going to say, above a 3.5 GPA. And because that's what most schools, honors colleges are requiring, that you have above that 3.5 GPA. And for TSU, I want to say they didn't require much for SAT, but I will say that you want to play safe. You want to score as high as possible as you can on that SAT, because even when it comes to those competitive spaces in the honors college, you'll for sure land that spot. You'll for sure land that spot. And so, but TSU's requirements for honors college wasn't, for the SAT, they particularly wasn't that high. And so honors college, a little more rigorous. That's what I was trying to look for, the word. A little more rigorous coursework because it's different. There's different professors. There's honors professors. Your classes are smaller. The sections are smaller. So you can get that direct help, that direct assistance. There's multiple perks of being in the honors college. I will say that. Assertively say that there's multiple perks of being the honors college, but also the honors college does have that responsibility that not only do you get into that college, but you have to maintain your spot in that college. And here's the thing, that's where it comes with intentionality, making sure that you're studying, maintaining that good GPA, because they're going to accept you, but they expect you at the same time to maintain that standard of which you were accepted upon. And also at the same time, honors college is just a great opportunity because they even provide opportunities for you to learn how to get those skills like networking, internships, everything. So honors colleges definitely set you up for success. And I would just say that if you can join the honors college, I would definitely take that advantage, take the opportunity, because that's what I'm in currently, Thomas F. Freeman Honors College. And I would just say it's been a great experience, most definitely being a part of it. Very valuable, very beneficial. and it's definitely going to support my pursuit of excellence throughout this collegiate journey.
Thank you for sharing a little bit more of your insight and your experience. Now I want to kind of shift into the actual like application season. If you can remember at this point, because it's been a while for you, what was the application process like for you in terms of your essays, deadlines, and requirements, and how did you stay on top of your systems to make sure that you were organized or able to meet different deadlines?
Okay. This is valuable. Oh, this is valuable. So let's start with this. I'm gonna give you the biggest advice, the greatest advice I can. The first thing I would tell them is to make sure that you have good time management and that you eliminate all procrastination. Because I'm gonna tell you, those two are my biggest downfalls. They really were. I'm gonna say that the college application process has definitely become more convenient over the years, but at the same time, it's definitely in depth. And you have those essays, and all of that. I'm gonna be transparent. I used to go through that college applications, and I used to say, didn't I just write an essay? Now you want me to write another 250 word response? And so it's most definitely it can be extensive. And so the thing is, you have a lot of time for deadlines, a lot of time. And here's the thing, I know I'm speaking to my seniors particularly. I know that time comes where the senior activities, you have your last homecoming, everything, all those senior activities, and you can lose sight of those deadlines. But it's very important to remain on top of those deadlines because you want to make sure that your application is in on time and that your application is effective, most definitely, and that you're meeting all of those deadlines. Because, for instance, you have priority deadlines, and I'm sure the priority deadlines are like the first of the month most of the time. So, like, you got December one, like deadlines, things like that. And most of the time, they're early action. And early action is good. You want early action because, unlike regular decision, you get those responses back in advance so that you can start navigating the other resources or whatever it is it takes to pursue your collegiate journey at the university of your choosing. So what my application process looked like once I discovered my top five, because I decided to break it to my top five, because I believe that sometimes we get into a space where we're looking at colleges like that list and just going because we like the name of that college. Like Florida A&M University. Oh yes, I want to attend. North Carolina Agriculture and Mechanics. I want to attend. So you get into that space, but I narrowed it down to be intentional to the top five. And I started to every day, because I was an AP student too, class president, heavily involved. Every day I would chip at it a little bit, chip at it a little bit, chip at it a little bit to make sure that I was getting piece by piece done. Some of my friends did, I could share their tips because this would be very helpful. What they did in between those classes, they will work on their essays. In between those classes, they will work on the essay questions because you want to make sure that you're giving responses, good, insightful responses, so that you can give the colleges, like you can stand out to your college and be like, wow, like we really want this student to be a part of our university, and emphasizing your involvement in applications. That's what really got me how far I am, is the involvement. I will say that because I did have some friends with great SAT scores, perfect GPAs. I'm talking about like 5-point GPAs, perfect GPAs, but they didn't have the involvement aspect, and that's what caused them to be overlooked. Because colleges want to see your involvement and how you can contribute to their vibrant community as well. And so, just being intentional in the application process is about intentionality, meeting those deadlines, and ensuring that you're making time to fulfill all the requirements, because you don't want to come to that December 1 deadline and be working on it. December 1 at 11:59 is when they do it. Be working on it in December 1st at 10 o'clock at night. No, that's not what you want, because you want some intentionality behind your application to show that you've been working towards it, to show that you've been taking your time. And not only that, some applications, and you go to some colleges, I'm sure that they'll show you or you have the requirements of what they're asking. Even while you're in your junior year, that's the best time. Start thinking about your essay. Start thinking about what you want to write. Because for most apps, like Common App, the prompt doesn't change. The prompts doesn't change. There's a plethora of prompts to choose from for your college essay. Because some colleges, all they require in that app is your college essay. So when you're loading your college essay into that app, they'll take it and give your information to the college as you grant them permission to, of course, your information to the college. And all you have to do is write some short answer questions for the college further. But most definitely, that's literally what I've done, just making sure that I was intentional. And I didn't always get it right. The reason I'm giving y'all this advice because I was that student that waited until those deadlines came to start doing things. So don't procrastinate, do it ahead of time, and you'll find success in your college applications. That's my advice.
You sharing your advice in terms of you were the student that procrastinated and waited a minute. I want to ask you to kind of speak on the emotional health piece. So the stress, anxiety, how do you go through this process, either stress-free, or what were methods that you used for yourself to not be overwhelmed or to kind of recalibrate yourself? Because starting at, I wouldn't say last minute, but when you are in the application process and there's a lot of movement and you were procrastinating, and like you said, you're taking AP classes, like there's a lot on your schedule, it can get overwhelming. What was that journey like for you? When you were overwhelmed or you were stressed, what helped you overcome those moments?
Okay, thank you so much, man. I'm more than willing to share that. First, I'll say it's my faith life. I have faith and trust in God. Because let me tell you something, times are going to get tedious. I am a minister of the gospel, so I would definitely recommend that when you get into those tough times, pray. Most definitely have a close relationship with God. Most definitely, because He'll lead you, He'll guide you and direct you. The only reason that I am where I am today, the only reason I'm able to give everyone this advice is because of my strong foundation in Jesus Christ and my relationship with Him. And so that's the first thing that I had to do as a part of a stress reliever. Because, like you said, being part of those many, being heavily involved within the campus, within many organizations, AP classes, everything, it can get overwhelming. And not only that, not only my strong foundation in Christ, but also what a tip my mom always gives me. She says, "Don't beat yourself up." We're our biggest critic. We're our biggest enemy. And to anyone listening, I would tell you right now, don't beat yourself up. Please don't. As an emotional health piece, don't beat yourself up. You're only one person. It's senior year, or not even just senior year. You're probably watching this and you're probably an eighth grader. You're probably just entering high school. It just don't beat yourself up in this college application process because it can get stressful. I'm speaking from trial and error. That's why I recommend spreading your time out wise. Don't procrastinate. Make sure that you do it in that. You're going to have those events. You're going to have that homecoming. You're going to have that prom. Make sure that you're taking advantage of your time and using it wisely so that you won't get into a point to where you're stressed. Most definitely. And I think more so, even with being class president, another piece of advice is sometimes you got to pull back. Sometimes you have to, because college, when applying to college, this is like the start of your life, of your adult journey. So this is very pivotal moment in your life. So sometimes you have to say, I can't do it this time. Sometimes you have to say, I can't be involved within this. Like, I have to take a break. I have to pull back to focus on that aspect, because the most important piece of this process is making sure that you don't overwhelm yourself and considering your mental health, taking those breaks, breathing, having a plan so that you won't become overwhelmed. And so most importantly, I'll say it's definitely about intentionality in this process and making sure that you're not overwhelming yourself or not overexerting yourself, and spacing your time out wisely, having a foundation in Christ, or meditating, or however you believe, or however that may work out for you. But I'll tell you, that's what definitely worked with me, having a relationship with Christ and making sure I'm spacing out my time wisely. And also just making sure I'm praying. Everything in that vicinity is what helped me in those stressful times.
To the point where you're making, and this is something a part of our program that we even walk through our students, is like, how do you not burn out in this process? Because what is basically shown within the college admissions process is that students have to burn out, and that is actually does not have to be the case if you start early on, or even if you just space it out, you take things back. But I think I really liked what you said, Christian, is that when students are applying to colleges, really is the start of something new as it relates to starting their adulthood. Like, you're picking a major that you're going to devote your time to, your energy to. And so what does it look like to make the space, for yourself emotionally, mentally, to kind of be at a place to put space towards your application, but then also not to forget about even the lasting memories of high school. Because you have some seniors where they have to miss out on a lot of different things because they either waited till last minute or they procrastinated. And so they're trying to focus on getting their college application completed, but then they're missing out on something that they could have explored their senior year. So it's that idea of how can we help our students reach the point where they're seniors in high school, where they can fully enjoy being a senior in high school, on well as having that intentional space and time to apply to college, and they're not burnt out. I really appreciate what you pointed out and what you said, and that sometimes you do have to say no. And in the moment, and I'm saying this for all students, and I think even families and parents can relate to this too. In a moment, saying no seems like a very hard thing to do. And when you look back on what you said no and what you gave yourself more space to do, you're actually going to be very, very happy about the
Right. Very, very, very great.
so I think in the moment, sometimes it's also like, oh my gosh, I don't really want to say no, but it's just feeling like missing out, or what is this going to mean? But then when you look back, you're like, I'm actually pretty glad that I made space for myself and I said no. There was something in when you were talking about your essay that you were sharing about your involvement. What about your essay you feel like you wrote about made you stand out? It's not about the GPA. I'm at the grades or the SAT, but it's about your involvement and what colleges are looking for. Like, how is it that if I say yes to you coming to my campus, how do I know that you're going to make an impact on my campus that is going to look good on us as a university?
Okay. Okay. That's a valuable question. I will say that as far as personal statement, as far as what I wrote about in my personal essay, what I wrote about was, what are you most passionate about, or what gives you passion? Like I previously stated, I am a minister of the gospel. I do preach, I teach, I do it all. So I am a minister of the gospel. I say my most passion lies in my heart for serving God, for serving his people, and most importantly, drawing countless souls to Christ is what gives me passion, is what ensures that this is what gives me the opportunity to wake up every day. This is what I can see myself doing. Is it because when this college writing process, I think what a lot of students think that, oh, I gotta write an essay that stands out, but I have to write an essay that sounds very like I'm very educated. But however, colleges want to see the real you. They want to hear you. They want your uniqueness. They want your individuality. They want your gifts. They want your talent. That's what they want to know. What makes you stand out from everybody else? That you can become an essential part of our community. Because if we get a lot of gifts, a lot of talents, a plethora of creative minds, innovators, social engineers, if we get a plethora of different mindsets within our community, then it can make our university even more recognizable, and it could allow us to achieve greater things as a university. So that's what I did in my personal essay. To answer that part of the question, I wrote what gives me the most passion, most definitely. And could you remind me the second part of the question?
You started to touch on it a bit, but what do you feel like that you wrote about made you stand out?
Okay, so through my essay this time, Howard asked me a question, and because here's the thing. That's another thing to know. Every college won't ask you the same thing. And I had to learn that the harsh way. Again, in my procrastination, sometimes when I would write the essays or when I would do the applications, I would get there to it at night or before it's due. It'd be like, why is it so long? And why do they want to know so many questions? Why do they want to know so much about me? But I understood now how different that is. But Howard asked a specific question. They said, why did you choose your major? And what are you going to do? Because if we're going to give you this bachelor's degree, what is going to make you stand out? And what are you going to do with it in return? Because at the same time, on this degree, our name is tied. What are you going to do in return of us giving you this degree and this opportunity to go out into your career and to begin to pursue excellence within your career? So I told Howard, I think what made me stand out is I talked about being a voice for the minority. I talked about advocacy. I talked about my plans. Not only that, to go into revitalize communities, to help rebuild communities, because that plans to serve underserved communities. and to bring about attention to their needs, their concerns by means of advocacy. Actually, I discovered I wanted to be a civil rights attorney. So I wrote about that, and I wrote it very passionately. I wrote it from my heart. I made sure that everything I was saying, with each sentence, it was intentionality. And so even I talked about how I'm doing that already. Like, what do you do? They want to know how you're putting that into action. So I talked about how I'm doing that already, how I'm advocating for the needs of my class. Like, this is good practice to be the student body president and to make sure that my peers' needs aren't overlooked and make sure that they're getting the proper representation that they need. And so just intentionality throughout those questions is how I made it serious. That's what made me stand out. Just listing all those things you're involved in. And I'm gonna tell you this too. Another tip. Don't think that what you're involved in is too minimal. Don't think, because even Common App will give you an example. They'll say, if you say that you're a team manager, you don't have to say a whole, how can I say this, a whole lot about what you do. Even if you give like a small detailed description, like I help put up the cones or whatever, because they would say give a description. Because, like, for instance, I put everything. That's what I'm trying to say. Put everything you're involved in. If you're listening to me now, put everything you're involved in your application. Because I sing on the praise team in our church. I put that too. The description was, I sing on the praise team. I get a chance to contribute to the worship environment and bring harmony within our church. And so that's something that I put on there. So most definitely, to stand out, just make sure that you're being true to your own self. Being true, have someone look over it. I had my mom look over most of my application. She did look over and critique it, but 9 times out of 10, my mom actually didn't really have anything to say, because, like I said, it was from my heart. That's to every student listening. When you write these statements, make sure you're writing it from your heart with your passion in mind of what you're going to this university to pursue and why you stand out and why they should choose you to be a part of that university. Really think about that. And even now in high school, think about what contributions you're making that will cause you to stand out while you're on your collegiate journey.
For giving the overview of your process and what you've gone through. There was a point that you made of the impact that you have already been making in your community before even getting to college. Can you share a little bit about the impact that you have made in your community before college? But then also, I'm pretty curious to know, you were the class president from 9th grade to 12th grade in high school. And I'm curious to know, how did you manage to be the class president for all 4 years of high school? What impact have you feel like you made in your high school career?
Okay. First, I'll say to hold a position that long, God, say prayer, all of it, petitioning, going before. I'm serious. Being intentional in my prayer life and telling God, this is what I want. This is really what I want. But secondly, what happened is impact. That's what it's all about. Impact. In efforts to maintain this role, I'll never forget in my freshman year, I was running against another young lady. She's very passionate, and first of all, I salute her because she was amazing. You know, had an amazing campaign also. But what I did was, what made me stand out is that I went and made an impact. I got a chance to build relationships with my class, with my peers. I went into Pearland High School. I wasn't very well known because a lot of these kids that were there came from other high schools. Not high schools, junior highs. So sorry. They came from other junior highs in the surrounding area. The junior high I came from was zoned to another high school. So most of my friends and those relationships I built through my junior high career, they were over there at the other high school. So I came to this school at Pearland not really knowing everybody. But I got a chance to build genuine connections, build relationships, to impact, and not only was I didn't just say mere words. I got a chance to do what I said because I wanted to be a man of my word. And I formed those relationships, and that's what made me stand out, because I believe that my sole purpose is one of my favorite verses in the Bible. It says that the Son of Man did not come to be served, but he came to serve. And so I believe that my sole purpose is to serve. And so I was literally looking for opportunities to serve my class, to be there for them, to assist them in any way that I can, to be making sure that their needs were advocated for, to be a voice for the student body. That was really my main concern. And I was about building genuine connection because before a platform, you have to build trust within your peers who you're leading. And so that's what definitely allowed me to go throughout the whole 4 years in high school because everybody had already trusted me. I had a relationship with most of my classmates. And so every time re-election would come, they'd be like, you already know who I'm voting for. You already know who I'm voting for. And not from a prideful stance, but from a humble stance, a humble heart posture. I was just like, wow, they really entrust me. Like, wow, like I really stand out. I really made an impact. Going on to how I made an impact in my community, I knew that my purpose in life was bigger and broader than the walls within Pearland High School. I knew that I had a community to serve. I know that there are homeless people who are wondering where their next meal comes from. I understand that there are less fortunate citizens as well. And I was just like, how can, as a part of my brand, how can I make an impact? And so I actually did have opportunities where I went out to the lower parts of Houston and I gave out plate of food. My mom and I and my aunts, we went out and gave plates of food. And not only that, got a chance to donate to some shelters as well, contribute to those processes of giving back. Even with my ministry at church, all we believe is giving back. So just to answer your question, I just knew that I just wanted to be impactful. I just knew that I wanted to participate in community more, community service events, which give into our community. And I'm not done. I still want to actually contribute to more community service projects. And that's important about the collegiate journey is that you have to find an opportunity to complete community service opportunities, whether that's helping your campus. You may think helping the librarians stack books on the shelf is not a service opportunity. It actually is because you're contributing to the equilibrium of your school and the equilibrium of your library, making books more accessible for education for the students when they come into the library. So you see, just in those small details.
Wow, that's amazing. I like the part that you said about building relationships because that's important in terms of any leadership role and whatever it is that you plan to do or how you make an impact is before you can advocate for someone, you have to know exactly what they're going through. And so I think from what I hear from you, what I hear and how you were able to be class president for all 4 years, and you even speaking about the advocacy of what you wanted to do for the students as class president, your responsibility is to advocate for the needs of those who are basically under you because you're the president over them. And just hearing the fact that you were very intentional. Intentionality is coming up a lot for you. I think that's a theme. And how you carry yourself behind building relationships and what that was like and how in you building relationships, it built trust. And I even think as well, trust is an important piece as well of leadership, of being able to do anything. There has to be trust in the people around you. And what does that look like to make impact? My next question is that you mentioned your mom a lot in your process, and we understand the importance of family and the importance of support. What was the role that your family or your support system played as it related to you applying for colleges?
Okay, my family gave me a lot of oral support. They did. Like I'm saying, like there were times where I wanted to quit. There were times where I wanted to give up. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
But my family was that piece that kept me going. Cause like I could say there were days I was like sophomore year I fell into such a deep depression because I had something significant go on. I lost my most influential person in my life, the lady who literally taught me everything I know about ministry, who raised me to be the young man that I am. My mom. I give my mom and my dad their accolades all the time. They were great parents. But I cloud because I was with my grandmother most of the time. She raised me up to be the young man that I am today, which is, everything that you see right now. And she passed, and she was also a part of, getting to where I am. And so I'll just say that my family supported me even when I was going through depression. They supported me. The support of family is very significant in this process because in this collegiate process, you're going to realize you're a millionaire. You're going to realize that you have everything in the world. You want to know why? Because you have your family, the support of your family. My cousins, I have cousins who graduated from HBCUs as well. Valuable insight, valuable information on how to navigate this collegiate process. Not only that, but some of my aunts and uncle also went to college as well. And just having that insight and knowing what to do, even still to this day, I'm in college right now. And I call my auntie on the phone and I say, they said this. I don't think that's all right. And then she'll give me the right answer in the right direction. And more so, I mention my mom a lot because she really is my greatest influence. She really always encourages me and leads me in the right direction and tells me how I should go about with this collegiate process. And I wouldn't be where I am today. So, like you said, the supportive family through this process is very important. It's very compulsory. And I'll say that you have it, you're golden. You're already set up for success.
Wow.
You are.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing your experiences and even to the point of vulnerability, because it goes back to the mental health piece and emotional health. And it's recognizing that young people go through things too, and space is available for young people to be able to process, to be able to push forward. And I think sometimes is recognizing that, again, college application process can be stressful, it can be overwhelming, but what is that support that's holding down a fort when you need someone to come and hold it down? I just appreciate what you were saying, because even a part of the heart of what we do in the program, what we do is that you need the student and the family a part of this process. And sometimes I do believe that a lot of students feel like that they are alone, but it's not because their family doesn't want to support, but there's some families that just don't know how. And so what does it look like to provide family with the support as well? Many parents don't know about common. They're learning with the student too, especially depending on if you're first generation. I understand that you're first generation, but even depending on what all of these things are, the whole family needs support. But then also, what is the family getting to support the student? Now we're going to move into more reflection and looking forward. And you talked about this a lot in the beginning, where you were giving a lot of advice to students and family because you were saying that you were a student that procrastinated. So with that, what's one thing that you wish you had done differently in 9th or 10th grade as it related to your college admissions process?
Inquire more information. Be afraid to ask questions. Don't be afraid to go out into your collegiate journey. Not into your collegiate journey just yet, but while you're 9th and 10th grade, don't be afraid to start your collegiate journey. Start looking. Start seeing what these colleges want. Start seeing how you can land opportunities. Start seeing which ways you can be involved. Just another word again. The word again. Be very intentional. Go out. Go join those clubs. Join those organizations. And also maintain your grades. Maintain your GPA, because you want those good scholarships, but making sure most of part of that you're getting involved. Something that I would have done differently in 10th grade is first put it on my heart, start really thinking about what I wanted to do. Because it's almost like college. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, please. I don't want to say this wrong. In college, you have your first 2 years. So after your sophomore years, you know for sure what you want to major in, you know for sure what you want to be. That's almost like high school. After your sophomore year, you know for sure what you want to be, what you want to do. So take those first 2 years of high school, explore. This is what I want to do in my life. And start making that pathway on how you're going to get there. Check off those tasks. See what that school is requiring. If you want to go to Harvard, your dream is not far off. If you want to go to Howard, your dream is not far off. If you want to go to Yale, your dream is not far enough. I don't know which university you want to attend, but if you have take the proper steps and be intentional and making sure that you're meeting those requirements of what it takes to be there, then I promise you, you're going to land your spot there. Just be intentional. So in summary, what I would say, the key thing I would tell you is just be intentional. Be intentional. Just have it on your heart for sure.
What's something that you're really proud of within your overall journey? Not the result of getting a full ride, because that's amazing, but just the process that led to you getting a full ride to TSU. What is something that you're really proud of within yourself?
I would say the passion and the dedication I put into the scholarship, because I think every college student should look back and be like, wow, like even in their freshman year, look back and be like, wow, this is what I've done to get here. Like you did that. Be very proud of yourself. I'll say that I stepped out on faith and said, let me apply to the Honors College. I'm glad I said, let me attend Texas Southern University. I'm glad during this application process that I made sure that I was intentional and made sure that I poured out my heart during this application process. to ensure, that I'm landing my spot at TSU. So I'm just proud to say that I work hard. I work hard in this application process. I did. I mean, late nights, even though, because even the reality is while you're applying, the reality is you're still a student. Late nights studying, but still having to complete college applications, all those things. One of those things that I could commend myself for is that I didn't give up. And that's what I'm praying for you today, or for anyone that's watching, that you don't give up through this process. It's a little difficult from time to time, but I just hope you just don't lose heart, because you're going to be proud. You're going to look back and be like, wow. You remember that time I said I wanted to give up and not even go to college? Look at me now. That's how it's gonna be. I'm serious. Wow. And so you're gonna take that look back and look and have a deep look within yourself, introspection. And you're gonna see like, wow, look at what we've accomplished over the years. So most definitely, I'll say my dedication, my hard work, my grit, my persistence, and my refusal to give up. Most proud of, especially during the application process.
Wow. As I was hearing you speak, was that you also didn't limit your potential going towards the honors college and being able to take that leap of faith and walk out. You didn't doubt your capability, that that's an opportunity for you. But what you did was you saw it and you was like, I see it, I'm gonna grab it, and I'm gonna go for it. And whatever happens, happens. You trusted it as well. So these are a lot of things that they literally did come as a surprise to you, but you were curious, so you asked the questions, you did what was necessary, but you being dedicated to the process, even in the midst of the unknowns, you moved forward in that.
Most definitely, and I thank you for that, for real. Just like I said, just most definitely not giving up in the process, for sure. Most definitely.
How do you hope to help others to not make the same mistakes as you and to also realize their potential?
First, I would say is I'm already doing it for this opportunity. Like I say, I don't take this opportunity lightly, because I do believe that a part of my purpose is to be there, to be an advocate, to be a voice for those generations that are under me. Those generations who came after. One of my brothers, for sure, at Texas Southern University, he told me, he said a reason why I don't hold back on telling y'all these things, or telling y'all, giving y'all this valuable information and insight, is because I want y'all to take this information and use it for generations to come. Because if you get it, somebody after you is going to get it. So if I can in any way support eighth graders, ninth graders, anyone to come into their collegiate journey, I would establish almost a direct form of communication in which they could reach out to me for any questions. I'll be more than willing to have conversations to direct them and lead them and guide them in the right path of which they should be going. And also, I just, through what I'm doing, plan to set an example and pave the way. Because I even want to aspire one day to pay it forward. I want to open a scholarship in memorial of my late great grandmother. I want to open a scholarship to help those students who are in high school, about to enter college as a freshman. So to pay it forward, I also give somebody the same experiences that I had. So over the years, I want somebody to achieve the same things that I've done and do better, put them in a position to do better. So whatever it takes to get there, I'm more than willing. That's how I would pay it forward. And I feel honestly, by just going to TSU and literally putting into practice everything that I've recommended tonight, is paying it forward, most definitely. And so because I'm showing the next generation of future lawyers, future doctors, future scientists, future activists, future agents for change, I'm showing them that everything I'm telling you is going to set you up for success. And so if I had the opportunity to get mine to pay it forward, I would do something like this. Let them know how I failed, but let me tell you how you can succeed.
Wow. Do you have any last thoughts or any last words that you want to share?
Well, I just want to say again, thank you for this opportunity. And to anyone watching, to any parent that is wondering how your child's gonna make it through college, to any student that is wondering how you're gonna get to college, I just want to tell you, it just starts with intentionality. It just starts with making a step. It starts with taking a leap of faith. And so in all of this tonight, I just hope that you would be intentional about your collegiate journey. From this talk, from this episode, I hope that you can go and say, what can I start doing now to prepare for my future. Because I often say this, I want to end on this note. I see you in the future and you look much better than you do right now. And so continue to be intentional and continue to pursue to do great things within your collegiate journey. And I'll again, Maya, thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part.
Thank you so much, Christian, for your time. Thank you for sharing your insights and your journey. I'm pretty sure that many students and families who watch the replay would appreciate everything that you have shared. Any students or families who are wondering about Texas Southern University, I am pretty sure that Christian will have no issues at all sharing about his experience,
no issues,
about the journey of being a TSU student, which for those of you who are not sure, it's in Texas University, because there's so many colleges. So I know there's sometimes abbreviations, but it
Texas Southern University.
Students, any family who's interested in even learning more about HBCUs. We've had another student who we interviewed, who she is a freshman right now at Spelman. So we have, HBCUs. So if you want to learn, please feel free to reach out to us. But again, the program that we have for students starting as young as 8th grade, you could get them in at 8th grade.
Yes.
Called Merry Money Method, and the journey is that we do support them all through high school so that they can earn full rise to college, but also learn who they are, learn about what their theme is, their purpose, what type of leader is that they want to be, and that they're able to know all this before they even step onto a college campus, because every student is a leader. It's just whether they have the support system that they need to really pull out the capacity and the potential that is in each and every one of them. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you again, Christian. Feel free to reach out and learn more information from us on our website.